Hello and welcome to the Build with Bear Workshop. My name is Pat Bear. I'm here to build a model kit, and I'm also here to hang out with all of you. And I'm going to start things off by throwing the Bear Cave, the Lego, the site, the Tier 2 blue emote into chat. If you are currently a subscriber, you can reply with those emotes. If you are not yet a subscriber, you can say hi. You can use other people's emotes if you feel like being a lurker. You just go ahead and lurk. That's also okay. It's a Saturday night, and I'm here to build a model kit. Lashbrook is here. Hello, Lashbrook. Happy to have you. I'm working on the Methuss. It's right here. It's a kit that transforms. It's from, this kit was originally released in 2006. This is definitely a reprint, so it's not a redesign, but this plastic is probably not 19 years old. But the design is. The design is certainly 19 years old. Working on that, we got the head, we got the chest, we got one arm done. Going to work on the other arm, and then we'll work on the backpack, which also includes the cockpit for the flight mode, for the transformation mode, the flight mode, that whole thing. This thing transforms. I have heard mixed things about its transformation, but we'll discover it for ourselves. It might be a chill, laid-back evening here tonight on a Saturday. You know, people out and about, people doing things, people hung over from yesterday. I got it. I understand. I'm here to hang out with all of you. It was asked. I do plan on streaming on Saturday. I am fully believing that that All In 2025, which has a start time of 3 p.m. Eastern, will not run until 9 p.m. Eastern, that it will not be a 6-hour show. It might be 6 hours total because the pre-show starts 2 hours early at 1 p.m., but I don't think it's going to run until 9 p.m. That's my guess. I don't know. I don't know for sure, but I'm thinking it won't run until 9 p.m. So I'm planning on streaming normally. Will I be in a weird headspace for watching wrestling all day? Possibly. I might be weird. I might be in a weird head spot. But it'll be fun. It'll be fun and cool. And I think it will be a good time. So, you know, that's next Saturday. What's up for this Saturday? We're working on the Methuss. We'll continue working on the Methuss, and we'll hang out. We'll talk. Like I said, it might be a chill evening. Might be pretty laid back as far as people here hanging out. But that's okay. It'll be all right. We'll go to the overhead camera. Readjusted some of the lighting here a bit. I'm hoping this is okay. At the very least, I can tell you that I have figured out how to properly deal with this Logitech issue with my Logitech software for my webcam causing this version of OBS to not want to close. That was fun. There's another thing going on that I can't figure out that is unrelated to that. Another annoying thing. I have tried everything I can think of to figure out why on YouTube, on Firefox, just on Firefox YouTube, that's it. Only in that instance, I have an issue where I'm getting this, a video's playing and it's playing fine. Everything looks good. There's nothing about it that is questionable or weird. I'm playing at 1080p, no problem, no issues there. Suddenly it'll just stop and say playback error. I'm like, is it my DNS? Do I have to flush the DNS? I did that. Do I have to clear the cache in Firefox? Clear the cache. That only helps for so long. It's weird. Okay. I have now had to completely rebuild. I did refresh Firefox completely, and so far that has fixed it, but that shouldn't have been the case. There's a more ridiculous step I can take. So I don't generally play YouTube on Chrome. I generally do everything on Firefox because that's where I've got a lot of good. In my opinion, I have a lot of solid. What is the word I'm looking for? Add-ons, extensions and add-ons. I got stuff that I like using, so I've stuck with it. But I am running into this thing where I'm like, I don't know how to fix it. there's like a long list, depending on what website you're looking at, what a list of the things you can try. One of the things it recommends is like restart your computer. I'm like, that's not, no, we're not at that stage. We're beyond that stage. Come on. But one of the other things that they recommended was to like change your DNS number to like a Google number, because Google Chrome was getting mad at me. The idea is not Chrome, but that like YouTube was getting mad at me. And I'm like, I don't think that's it. I'll do it eventually, but it's just frustrating because like it just kind of comes out of nowhere. So hopefully doing this thing where I rebuilt Firefox, which also meant that I had to log into a bunch of websites again. I had to readjust the stuff that it saved. It saved a bunch of things, but it didn't save like how much I zoom in on this site because the text is really small on the site. So I zoom in on it, or like I had to redo my dashboard in Twitch. I don't know why, but it didn't save it in there in the browser. So it's just like a bunch of weird stuff that I had to do. But hopefully this fixed it. I guess I could just start watching YouTube stuff in Chrome, I guess, but I don't want to do that. But again, I can do that if that becomes the only solution. Oh, I didn't show this. So this is the thing that goes on the arm. It looks kind of cool here. It swings out. But when it swings out, I'm just going to do this. You can do this, and then it's a gun. So it's just like a gun pops out. So it'll do like that, and then you can probably pry this, but I'm just using the separator there. And then, yeah, and then this will, theoretically, you can just move your arm like that, and then you got to fix the hand there. But yeah, then it's just got like a cool surprise gun, which is kind of fun. I thought that was neat, and I didn't show it off when I was working on the first arm here, so I wanted to show it off there. I will say this is the very 2006. The way these hands fold together is kind of fucking really annoying. So I think I would probably just put a beam saber in one hand and never try to move it in and out, because these don't. Yeah, these are a little wonky. Not great. Let's see. Yesterday, 4th of July. I hope you had a good time with that. I had a fun time. I went over to a neighbor's, walking distance. Had a lot of good food, some fine conversation. I thought it was a good night, a good little time. So yeah, overall, pretty happy with that. Got stuffed, ate a lot of stuff. Here's the thing that I am learning about myself, which is not great, to kind of figure this out. So I haven't weaned myself off of soda, but I drink a lot less cola than I used to. I drink a whole lot less cola than I used to, right? So that's been good. But part of that is because of this house and what we want to drink here. I'm drinking a lot of diet caffeine-free soda. So that's all I drink. I don't intake any caffeine in anything because I don't drink coffee, I don't drink tea. So I'm just not imbibing that at all, which is like, honestly, pretty fucking great. It's been great to get caffeine out. It was really hard at first, but it's gotten way easier over time. So I'll go over, walk down, hanging out there, eating food and whatever. And they're like, "Oh yeah, we got you some diet soda." And I was like, "Oh cool." They got me some Diet Coke. So it's got caffeine in it because it's not diet caffeine free. It's just diet. I had trouble sleeping last night. I had real legitimate trouble falling asleep because like my body was just like, "Hey, what's all this caffeine doing in here?" And it was hours later because I cut myself off at like 5 and I went to bed at eventually 4 in the morning. But my body is so deprived of caffeine that it was just like, "Hey guy, good fucking luck." It was honestly kind of impressive how my body was just so adamant that I would have to fucking deal with all that caffeine in my body. because I like ate twice and I like stayed up late. I normally go to bed at like 2 in the morning, and I was like, well, I'll stay up a little bit longer, and that staying up longer just became longer and longer and longer. Ooh, we're getting kill bites dropped here. My apologies, folks. It will mean that this looks a little crunchy here for a little while. Hopefully it'll pop back up and look better, but it won't mean that I get disconnected, which is good. We don't want that. So, but yeah, it'll get a little crunchy here. So my apologies for getting a little crunchy. Hopefully we'll be okay. All right. So then this has got to go with this out on the outside. Goes like that. But yeah, food was good. I showed up and I was like, hey, what can I do to help? And then suddenly I was basting spare ribs with barbecue sauce and then making sure those turned out good. And guess what, folks? They fucking did. They turned out real good, and it was a pleasure to consume those. So I was very happy about that. So that was good. But yeah, in general, it was just like a fun hangout and a nice time. Nice to see some people. Nice to spend a little time with some folks. In general, it was just a very laid-back evening. Back basically before the sun went down, because around here it goes down around 8 o'clock. And then just hanging out here in the house. And that was nice, watching some wrestling with some friends. That was a fun little end of the evening. For me. So yeah, I don't know. That's about it as far as 4th of July. There were certainly fireworks last night. There are currently fireworks. If you see me getting distracted, well, part of it is, I think this is actually maybe a little too bright. I might just, I got to fiddle around here. Harold just subscribed to tier 1. That's 92 months. Thank you so much, Harold, for that. Let's throw a Bear Cave Lego site. Tier 2 Lou emote. Thank Harold very much for the continued support. Harold, that's so many months. Thank you so much for the 92. Appreciate you as always. Thank you very much. There's some emotes into chat. But yes, and also hello and welcome. Yeah, there's fireworks going off right now, which is frustrating. You shouldn't hear them because I should have done a good, yeah, okay, so we'll just take that brightness down just a tad. I think that's better. I should be doing, and we're dropping more frames. My apologies for that. Got the low latency mode going in there. Sorry about all of that. That's just unfortunately happening, but we're not dropping any frames, so that's good. Just unfortunately this connection getting a little wonky. We did have a lot of rain, and we're getting a storm here. Look, I barely want to talk about the weather as far as it is here in South Carolina. It's just windy. It's just windy and rainy. We're nowhere near as bad as many parts of this country, certainly, that are dealing with some devastation. We just got a tropical storm, and it's just some trees are going to fall probably. It's been pretty mild around here, so I barely want to mention it, but my internet has been a little off kilter today because of all of that stuff. So hopefully we'll be good tonight. We'll be able to get a stream in here and all of that. Yeah, other than that, I don't know if there's anything else I really had to say about. Oh yeah, fireworks. Keep hearing them. Been hearing them tonight. Heard them plenty last night. Heard them on Thursday during the stream, of course. Not as many tonight as yesterday or a Thursday. Hopefully people have gone through the collection. Also, the fact that it is kind of wet and rainy maybe will theoretically decrease people's desire to run a bunch of fireworks, and they'll just wait and just do it at a random time when no one expects it, which also happens around here. It is what it is. Ain't the end of the world, but all right, let's see. I gotta refresh this page, see if these other stories have posted. There have been some announcements at there's an anime convention happening this weekend in Los Angeles, so we're getting some announcements coming out of that. One that is a bummer is that a series that is airing in Japan this season. The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity. The first episode came out today, but Netflix is not doing day and date. They are not doing a simulcast release. They are releasing it starting in September 7th. Now, I don't know if they're going to do weekly or just dump it out, but I don't think waiting on a romance show makes any sense and is a good idea. And I think it is a poor idea for Netflix to do that. Once again, you can call it Netflix jail. I mean, the turnaround time is not that long, but it's still a turnaround time. And the people that really want to watch the show won't wait. They will watch it illegally because they will get theirs. So it's just making it so less people who want to watch it will have Netflix to watch it. It's just very foolish, in my opinion. It is a foolish decision on the part of Netflix. But we are getting announcements of a lot of stuff that's coming in 2026. I'm going to use, unfortunately, I'm going to go over to Twitter for this. And I'm going to go to Crunchyroll because they are posting stuff about their things that are coming out. Let me scroll back here. Okay. They had a panel here that started an hour ago at Anime Expo 2025. First one announcement, ReZero, Starting Life in Another World Season 4 is coming to Crunchyroll sometime next year. That's pretty soon after the last season's came into be, which was last year. So that is a quicker turnaround time than previous. They've done they did like a prequel series for a little bit. They did some OVAs before, but this is, I would say, a pretty quick turnaround as far as they go. And that's good news. I think the shit's been really heating up with that show. I thought the last season was fantastic, so I am excited for more of that coming next year. Don't know when, just next year. Also coming next year is Class of the Elite, second year. Classroom of the Elite, I should say Classroom, not Class of the Elite. Classroom of the Elite, second year, which I think is the third season of Classroom of the Elite. I haven't been paying attention because I don't think that's very good. It's like a death game where no one dies. It's that kind of like intrigue, like who really is who, and what are they actually saying, and what do they actually want? And it's just like, I don't care. So I haven't been keeping up on that particular show, but it is, again, more is coming. Let's see, other information. An anime about Kamen Rider is coming in October of this year. Tojima wants to be a Kamen Rider. It's based on a world where Kamen Rider is a thing that is an anime and a long-standing anime, and then someone wants to become that as an adventure series. I have heard pretty good things about it. I have never engaged with it myself, but I've heard good things, and it is a fun premise. So I'm interested in that. Coming in October. Here's the big one. The big one for me. Coming soon. We don't know what that means. I think it means 2026. But they've been saying soon. Because they're not saying 2026. They're not saying 2025 or 2027. More Black Clover. Black Clover is coming back. Originally, it sounded like they were just going to be doing movies to finish off the show. And instead, they're coming back. Now, this was a show that didn't run seasonally. It ran like in batches. It ran yearly, so there was a lot of Black Clover. That style of release has has certainly gone out of favor. And usually that is just One Piece and kid shows at this point. But One Piece is kind of grandfathered in. So I imagine these will be seasons with long breaks. Black Clover maybe didn't explode internationally, but it was very popular in Japan. I was surprised that it did end its first run. Studio Pierrot is going to be returning to it. I really like Black Clover. I think it is just a phenomenal series. A lot of heart. It maybe is a hard show to get into because dropping more kilobytes here. Real rough. Perhaps our main character is a bit hard to get behind because he is just so loud for so much of the series. He just Asta just yells so much, and maybe it's a bit of a difficult sell, but I just think that show has so much heart and so many fucking kick-ass characters. It's got so much cool shit in it that I am excited that they're coming back. I really like Black Clover. I will be watching it. Let's see. Were there any other things that came out? An original. There's an original coming to Crunchyroll coming soon, which I assume means the fall season, but they're not saying exactly when. But I got a new series coming, Daemons of the Shadow Realm, which is an original series, original story by Arakawa, Himaru Arakawa, who is probably best known for Full Metal Alchemist. So Daemons of the Shadow Realms, yeah, new series with an black and white art style that looks fucking phenomenal. Like, if that works, great. That looks fantastic. And that is, so far anyway, I believe that was the final announcement of their panel. There might be more stuff, but that's what has been for Crunchyroll anyway. And then I should look up to see what if High Dive announced anything for their panel. I think they did. High Dive was at the Anime Expo as well. They made some announcements. I'm going to go look back here to see if I can find them. Let's see. I'm going to scroll here. See, there's at least one big announcement that I saw that I was really excited about. Mostly they're talking about their current stuff. Okay, the big announcement is that Reincarnated as a Sword Season 2 is coming. High Dive has it for the fall 2026 lineup. So that is not this fall, that's next fall. And that's a fucking long ways away. So that's October of 2026. So that's not fucking right around the corner. And that's kind of fucking wild. But it's coming back, and it's a great show, so I'm excited about that. But originally I read that as fall, and I was like, oh, cool, this fall. No, next fall. But that's going to be a good time. I believe I think that's their biggest announcement. Let me just quickly scroll down a little bit. Kind of just looking to see if they had any other big announcement besides that. They did have a panel. Just trying to see if they had any other announcements. I saw a promo image for that. Why can the sword fly? Because he's a guy that has a lot of cool abilities. One of the things that the sword is sentient, so he has the ability to fly. He's got a lot of cool powers. Because he's a talking, living sword. It's part of the vending machine, spider, slime world of isekai. You know? The Japanese voice actress for the main character in Call of the Night dressed up like the character for the convention, which is very cute and cool. They had a Danmachi panel. They had a Call of the Night Season 2. Call of the Night Season 2 Episode 1 had a weird fucking delay, but that did come out. It just got delayed and was weird. They had not explained why. Oshinoko Season 3 is getting a reveal of more information about it in September. So it is getting we got a teaser of Oshinoko Season 3 Not that it's coming out this year, that we'll find out more about when it's coming out and what's going on in September. So I will update you when I know more about it, because I am interested in knowing more about that show and watching that show. I think that was it for High Dive. Oh, Hero with, yeah, okay. Hero Without a Class. That's an announcement. This fall, they're getting Hero Without a Class who even needs skills. Just a really strong guy that doesn't worry about not having the skills that other people got. It's an isekai. Let's see. Got some dubs coming out. In August, Rock His Lady's Modesty dub is coming out, which I think I talked about before. I'm very excited about that. Yeah, I think that was the last big announcement, was the dub. Yeah. That was the end of June they made that announcement. Oh, okay, here we go. Here's another thing. Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation Season 3 is going to be on Crunchyroll next year. That is a show that I appreciate how much effort goes into that show. I think the animation is unbelievably solid. It is a top-tier looking show, but I don't enjoy the show for what it is. So I was like, I don't think it's a good particular show. I just think it's really well animated and they really care about the product. And they wanted to make it look good. I just don't think that it's like a great story or anything. So I'm like, but oh well. Let's see. There might be more announcements. But that's currently all that I saw there. So we'll move on after that. But yeah, I'll keep you abreast. Today I only have one episode of an anime to talk about because I'm still waiting for things to come up. It's kind of figuring out what I'm going to cover and when I'm going to cover it. So I'm still all right. But I think on Monday I will have 2 episodes of Private Tutor to the Duke's Daughter. I'll probably talk about it on Mondays. I've got one show that I know I'm going to cover, Water Magician, because I just think it's a fascinating show. So I will cover that. And also, last season I didn't talk about a single isekai. It was weird. It's one of the first seasons in a long time where I didn't cover a single isekai on here. I was watching some, but I didn't cover any of them. So I felt like, all right, well, I'll definitely have to do that this time around. So yeah, so we'll get into that at some point. Let's see, I need some polycaps here. I need F and N. I need F and N. Here's N, goes on this side over here, so I don't get confused with F, which goes over here. F and N, and then, I've already done this on the other side, so this isn't too complicated, and I do have to put a sticker on this, which we will do here. Get a sticker, get this all together. Put all the things together here and get this all looking nice and good. So yeah, I'm still trying to figure that stuff out. I do have some news stuff to talk about here. Not much. This is just kind of news stories that I kind of missed out on this week. Generally, news doesn't break on Fridays, or it certainly doesn't on Saturdays, especially with Friday being a holiday. We did not have people at Kotaku or Game Developer, who are the people that I normally look for articles. But here's a few things. So this is a weird story. There's 2 new countries this month in July. There are 2 new countries that are finally getting Grand Theft Auto 5, which, as you may remember, came out 12 years ago. The game just got rated in Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. And they're both coming. And so people are already like speculating, like, does that mean that Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to come out? And it's just like, I mean, maybe, but also like, who the fuck knows? I don't know. It's a very strange thing that it took like this long for that to happen. But apparently GTA 5 and Grand Theft Auto Online have been rated by the General Authority of Media Regulation in Saudi Arabia, which is just like like I said, this story is just weird. It's just like a weird thing to be like, oh yeah, all right, well, cool, good for them. And then the official PlayStation Middle East account confirmed GTA 5 and GTA Online would launch on the same day in the UAE, United Arab Emirates. They got a 21 plus rating, which is basically kind of the equivalent to like an adults only rating, higher than they would get in other countries, but you can understand culturally why that would be the case. And when we talk about stuff like this, it is good and important to remember that we are certainly talking about these, particularly the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia's government. We are not necessarily talking about, never really talking about the people, because the people are just people. Often. They're often just people just trying to play video games and hang out. So it is often good to remember that we are just talking about people and things. We're not talking about their countries and all of that. So yeah, good for them. Enjoy it, I guess. Other news stuff. Anthem is going offline next year forever. The looter shooter from BioWare that just did not do well. They were going to reboot it at one point, and then that got canceled, and they decided they weren't going to reboot it. And everybody knew that this game was like not long for this world, that eventually they would just shutter the game, that like keeping it in maintenance mode and allowing people to keep playing is like is a thing that should be fucking legally required, but like isn't. There's no law that says you got to keep a game alive for however long. So they're pulling it. This is an EA blog post. Anthem will officially shut down on January 12th, 2026. Once the servers go offline, the game will no longer be playable. They will not get an online mode update, as some people were hoping, like Redfall did. It will be delisted from EA Play as soon as August 15th of this year, which is, again, next month, a month and a few days. It will be delisted. And so then, if you want to check out Anthem, you have a month to make sure you get it before it's delisted, and then you have until January to play it if you want to play it. Because, some people like just want to see. They want to see the thing while they can before it goes, before it's fucking gone and there is no way to play it. So if you've ever been Anthem curious, you've got some amount of time to make that happen. And if you already have it, then you've got some time to play it. This had a bad development cycle, lots of mismanagement, and then the demo was bad in 2017, and then it just came out and people were like, no. And then people thought, like I said, there was money that was being put, that, supposedly there was going to be money put into bringing it back to life, and then that very quickly apparently became clear that that was not the case. They were not going to Final Fantasy 14 that shit, or I guess No Man's Sky it. They were not going to get the opportunity to fix it. And obviously it hasn't had content updates in a long time. It's just been waiting. But now this is the final plug. So now people are like trying to get some people together to play it, you know, before they can't anymore. And I respect it. I didn't touch the game. Didn't seem interesting to me. Am I part of the problem? No. But yeah, that's done. When did they say they were going to give up? That was... I want to see when that was. When did they announce, hey, we're not doing anything more with this game? Oh, yeah, 2021. So, considering that in 2021, they were like, hey, no more further updates for Anthem, the fact that it's going away in 2026 is kind of good. I mean, that's years later. That's almost 5 years later. You know, it's not good, but it's longer than I would have guessed. So that's something. Sorry to the people that have held out hope that Anthem was going to have a triumphant return. That is apparently not in the books and not in the cards for y'all. The holdouts for the revival of Anthem. Not meant to be. Let's see. I kind of want to go for one last ride, but not enough to deal with playing on PS4. I hear you, Lastbrook. I understand what you're saying. Like, yeah. Sometimes that stuff just, like, is funny in your head to be like, yeah, you know what? I want to see what's up. I want to see what I'm, like, what am I misremembering about this? Or what am I remembering about it? Like, yeah. I think I will just see if anyone's, like... At some point in December, I'm sure, like, people will wrap up Game of the Year stuff, and I'm sure somebody on one of these channels will run a Anthem stream. Remap should definitely fucking run an Anthem stream. I'll send an email to the question bucket and say, like, hey, what would it take to get Remap to, like, one last ride with Anthem? What we got? What do we need to get done here? I'll, like, pose it as a question, like, with Anthem shutting down officially and you're not being able to play, like, what's a game that you were around for its closer? You know, like, there's any game that any of you played, like, the last day you could before the servers completely shut down? Like, and then finish off with, like, P.S. You should play Anthem before it's gone. This story, I guess I guess we fucking should talk about it. We should talk about this. We've talked about accusations made to management at Ubisoft. Some of them no longer there. We've talked about this before. So I do think that it is important that we chat about this again. This is not a pleasant story by any means, but I do think it is. It would be good to chat about it. A French court has sentenced 3 former executives to Ubisoft to suspended prison terms and with convictions for sexual assault, psychological psychological harassment. But basically it is like guilty, but also time served, suspended prison terms, as I said. French court has sentenced 3 Ubisoft executives to suspended prison terms with charges including sexual assault and enabling a culture of sexual and psychological harassment. Convictions entailed former editorial vice president Thomas Francois, who was convicted on a charge of attempted sexual assault, handed a suspended 3-year term. Former chief creative officer, I'm going to butcher all of these names, Serge Pasco, has been given a 18-month suspended sentence, while former games director Guillermo Baer received a 12-month suspended sentence. So they're all getting a suspended sentence, but it is convictions. They will always be on their record. It'll always be a known thing. But it is obviously a light sentence, very much so, despite it being a conviction. The hearings took place 4 days at the beginning of June. The court was told how the aforementioned Ubisoft executives frequently abused their power to harass and bully employees. Women who previously worked at Ubisoft described how they were subject to constant comments about sex and their bodies, made to endure sexist and homophobic jokes, and touched physically without consent. There's a lot here about it. They denied all charges. They said the case revealed overwhelming evidence of harassment within Ubisoft and claimed, this is the French authorities, claimed the video game industry has systematic issues with sexism and abuse, which, yeah. So again, these are not jail times. These are suspended sentences. So this is basically time served. But this will hopefully follow these men until their dying breaths. And that's small comfort for the folks, but it is some sort of acknowledgement of their wrongdoing, at least, by a court. And that's, again, it's something. It's not good, but it is something that there has been some sort of assurances that they were right, and they were right to file these charges. They were right to speak out about these things, and hopefully that will lead to some sort of change within Ubisoft, at least in France. But the specter of that will hopefully hang over their heads, both the folks that were convicted and the folks that enabled that and looked the other way, and in many instances knew it was happening and did not care, did not think it was wrong or a big deal. So hopefully there will be some kind of systemic change within Ubisoft going forward, because that shit is fucking awful. There's a small story about Unity, a former Unity consultant. I believe it was might have been a legal consultant. I can't remember, getting charged, and then a lot of people talking about that person and how he was in some instances a known piece of shit, in other instances not well known. I'm trying to look up that story, so I apologize. As you may imagine, a lot of the stories this week were about the Microsoft layoffs and studio closures, which is yes. Let's see. Yeah, I'm trying to find that story, and I don't know where it was. I don't know. I don't know where that story went, so my apologies. But I'll look at Kotaku and see if Kotaku had the story. I can find it there. There's a Unity story, but that's not what I'm talking about. Naka, Sega president. Here we go. Former Unity senior client partner. So it wasn't illegal. It was in partnership with clients. Former Unity senior client partner Rod Strafford jailed for 22 years over sexual offenses. Unity put out a statement saying that he doesn't work here, basically. Just to make sure. It's we've been aware that a former UK-based employee is currently involved in a criminal case. The individual in question is no longer at Unity, and his criminal case has no connection to Unity or its operations, which is fucking clearly not true, because he was an employee there for a very long time. And come the fuck on, my guys. What are we talking about here? They don't know when he stopped being an employee at Unity, but he was definitely still there as of April when his trial took place. So maybe he got let go when he went to trial, but before that, he was still an employee at Unity. So there you go. And I know they got to say he doesn't work here anymore, but like, come on. I know you got to say that shit, but like, come on. The offenses include a lot of shit that I am not going to say on this, because even though we will talk about real shit, a lot of these charges are horrendous. And if you want to look up the story, you certainly can. The Oxford Mail did a whole thing about it because, again, this is a UK person, but this is like truly unbelievably heinous shit that I don't feel comfortable just saying here. So I'm not gonna, but holy fucking shit. Let's see. The Oxford Crown Court told game developer that Stafford, who would use the name Roderick Bryce Hagen and Roderick Bryce Stafford, was sentenced earlier today. This week. His sentence included a 5-year extended license. He will also be subject to an indefinite sexual harm prevention order and has been placed on the UK Sex Offenders Registry for life. Beyond his 22 years in prison, which he, in the UK, look, I am no expert in UK law. Please do not consider me an expert in these things. He's going to serve a lot of that 22 years. It's going to be a lot. He represented Unity as recently as 2024 when because people know he was at the Develop conference to host a talk called "The Challenges of Launching and Sustaining Multiplayer Games." He was part of the Cloud and Game Service team. That is the last time that it is believed that he did an event, but he was definitely on the books, later updated, definitely on the books all the way to April of this year. So he certainly had been an employee at Unity for quite some time. He was at GDCY, which is like the junior GDC thing. Let's see. According to the report, in 2004, he had been dismissed in his position as an officer within the British Army and jailed for 3.5 months after a military court found him guilty of abusing colleagues at an army base. And apparently he just kind of changed his name a little bit and went into gaming. And he was court-martialed. The historic and very public allegations against this is game developer writes this. The historic and very public allegations against Stanford raised questions about the vetting process of Unity, which permitted him to attend a number of high-profile industry events in the company's name. Chris Kerr writes for game developer. To which I say, fucking yeah, man. Like, you can't slightly change your name and then just like go about your goddamn business, Unity. Jesus fucking Christ. Unbelievable shit. That's the end of that kind of talk. I'm sure there will always be more things to say that are fucking negative and sad and terrible, because that's the world we live in. But at least at this very moment, I don't have anything else more to say about that. I mentioned earlier in the stream that I will be doing a Saturday stream next Saturday, which is All In, or as it's been called because it is all in Texas, Y'all In. That show is during the day, and I might be a little loopy on Saturday, but I will be streaming and that night at 9 p.m. because, again, the event is in the daytime. 1 p.m. pre-show. I don't want to call it 0 hour because it's a 2-hour show. And then the actual event at 3 p.m. Eastern. And I just, look, if it runs 6 hours, I will just stop watching it and stream. But I don't think it will run 6 hours. I have to hope it won't. I have to hope that it'll wrap up in like 4.5, maybe 5. If it wraps up at 8, then I can just kind of like not stare at a screen for a while and then do the stream. I think it'll be okay. Right now, let's see. Collision is just wrapping up. So a big thing out of Collision tonight is a change to a match. The Hurt Syndicate, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, who are the tag champions, were planned to have defense against Jet Speed, which is Kevin Knight and Speedball Mike Bailey. And due to shenanigans that have happened due to shenanigans that happened during Collision tonight, Christian Cage and Nick Wayne have been added to that match. So it is now a 3-way fight. I don't think this is just to get Christian and Nick on the card. I think is so that they can win the belts off of the babyface team, so that Bobby and Shelton look strong because they didn't lose the belt. You know, they didn't get pinned to lose the belts. And then Christian and Nick can be tag champions. And Christian Cage, a man in his early 50s, will be once again a champion in AEW. And I guess I don't hate it. I mean, I don't love it. In general, I don't love this. I'm not like the biggest fan in the world of 50-year-old wrestlers being champions in companies. But I do really like the story they're currently telling. The idea of the generational. There is rumors that they have custom belts made for them. And that they'll be like, they only want to defend against father and son teams or generational teams. That is a funny premise, or a funny idea that I'm like getting behind. Like I said, I'm not like uber thrilled about it, but I am like cautiously optimistic about that, like working out and being kind of fucking fun. I think that could be cool. It looks like Adam Cole and Kyle Fletcher are going to have a match for the TNT title. I was hoping that Danny Garcia was going to get put in this match and it would be a 3-way fight. There's still time for him to get added to it. Because unless he's in the Casino Gauntlet and he gets some time, I just think it fucking sucks to have one of AEW's best talents not on the card. Healthy and ready to go and just not being featured. I hope he ends up in the Casino, or I guess a pre-show match, but I don't know what that would be. Maybe on Wednesday, Cope comes back and it's Cope and Garcia setting up against FTR, who aren't on the card. Maybe. Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay have a tag match against the Young Bucks. If Ospreay and Swerve lose, they can't challenge for the world title for 1 year. That's an interesting way to keep them out of the title picture for good reason. It would extend this feud longer. It might make them feud with each other because the person that got pinned fucked it up for the other person, something like that. But if the Young Bucks lose, then they will be stripped of their ability to be executive vice presidents in kayfabe, not obviously in reality. Which also would be interesting because it would mean that they would be removing a evil authority figure from AEW, which would just be nice. It'd just be nice to have that. There is the Women's Casino Gauntlet. The winner gets a Women's World Championship match. We only know that Chris Statlander is coming out first in that. She has been confirmed as the first entrant. The Men's Casino Gauntlet, we know that Mark Briscoe and MJF are the first and second entrants, and Mystico is going to be in it. When Mystico is coming out, we don't know. But Mystico is booked for it, and that's cool. That's cool shit. All right, I got some stickers to put on here. Sorry, let me put on some stickers on this thing. It's the same one. It is these stickers here, these little green stickers. And then the last 2 stickers we're applying go on after that. And then we're done with stickers on this kit, which is great news for me. This is unbelievable news. I'm almost done applying stickers to this kit. No stickers on the legs, I guess. All right, so then these go on here. Easy, and then use my here to kind of just get that in there. And then we do the same thing on the other side. Okada versus Omega. Kazuchika Okada versus Kenny Omega. Winner take all. Unification of the Continental and the International Championships into the AEW Unified Championship, which sounds like it is a bigger deal than the world title, but the Unified title is just that. It's just the Unified title. I assume at some point they will drop that name and go by either International or Continental. That match is going to fucking whip ass and be cool. Timeless Toni Storm is defending the World Championship against Mercedes Moné. I am hoping there is another women's match on this card besides just the gauntlet. That will get a lot of ladies on the card, but I would like something more since Mercedes is not defending the TBS title. That match is going to fucking own. That could easily steal the show. I think those two are going to work real well together, and that's going to be real fucking good. Just I truly believe that'll be excellent. And then Jon Moxley will be defending the AEW World Championship in what I assume will be the main event, because I don't think Mercedes and Tony are going to be the main event. I think this will be the main event with the stipulation that's been added. It is for the AEW World Championship. It is also a Texas death match, which Hangman has, I think, only lost once. Yeah, he lost to Swerve, but he's beaten Moxley in one. This allows for cheating without it being cheating, which does mean that means that the people like the Ops who are not scheduled for a match, but I'm sure we'll get a match. It could be that the Ops will get involved. It could be that Swerve and Will get involved. Could Swerve cost Hangman? Who knows? Could MJF, who I am predicting wins the men's gauntlet, could he do it? I am saying MJF wins the gauntlet because I think Hangman Adam Page is going to win the belt. And then you have MJF and Hangman, who already have been feuding before, continuing their blood feud. And I think that just makes a lot of fucking sense. Because if Darby returns it all in and wins the gauntlet, then I'm just afraid that we are going to have Jon Moxley win, and then so we can set up Jon Moxley and Darby at All Out, and I do not want that. I want this story to be over. I want Hangman to finish his story and win the belt and put the Death Riders to bed. Lastbrook says, oh good, they're keeping the dome closed for All In. Cannot imagine how the show would have gone otherwise, considering the pre-show start at noon. Yeah, I'm glad that it's a closed dome. That makes a lot of sense. Anyway, other matches that might be on this card, like I said, Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander. I thought their singles would have been there. I hope there is a women's match. I don't think there will be, but maybe on pre-show. Athena is wrestling the night before, but if she shows up even briefly in the gauntlet, I think that would be cool. But she isn't. She is doing Supercard of Honor the night before, so I can see her not being in that. Jericho could return, certainly. Maybe pre-show for a match, maybe on the card. Like I said, I think Dana Garcia should be in there. The trios. No match for the trios right now. I could see that sounds like it might be kind of getting set up. That maybe the Death Riders, maybe Yuta and Claudio, if Pac is back and ready to go, maybe the three of them. Maybe Gabe Kidd, who is a Death Rider associate, is back. Maybe they bring somebody in. Maybe that's how Hook returns, because Hook is mad that he got while he was hurt, Will Hobbs came in as his replacement. Some people would say, hey, where is Takeshita? Takeshita is probably main eventing the night before at Death Before Dishonor against Supercard of Honor, I should say. He's probably doing the Ring of Honor show, which is maybe not the best place for him, but it is a place for him. If Kyle Fletcher now has a match, but yeah, I would like to see the trios do something on the card. I don't know who, but yeah, I would also like to see Claudio on there. Get to do stuff, and Yuta, I guess. I don't know if Orange Cassidy is ready to come back. If he is, the Gauntlet would be a great place for him to come back because he wouldn't have to take the pin to be in there. I wouldn't mind seeing some other, I'd like to see some CMLL folks. I'd like to see Hechicero getting into some shenanigans, maybe pre-show. Don Callis family, despite there being like 10 people in the Don Callis family right now. Lastbrook, that's what I'm saying. I was saying the Ops of the Trios champions. But if they go up against, I'm sorry, I don't know if I was clear. The Ops of the Trios champions, they took it off the Death Riders. There was a situation where Pac isn't available, we assume for injury. So Moxley was in the match, but then Hook wasn't there for apparently real reasons. And so they had Hobbs take Hook's place. So Hobbs is a champion, Hook isn't. So I could see maybe Hook showing up with the Death Riders because now he's a heel and he doesn't like them. So I'm sorry that I didn't completely say that, but I knew that. No, I know who all the champions are in AEW. I occasionally forget some of the Ring of Honor champions because I don't watch Ring of Honor that often. I don't know if they've set up who Lee Moriarty is wrestling at Supercard. I hope they decide that because I want them to do that. I want him to have a really cool match. But yes, I did know. All right. So we only know... that's right. Lee Moriarty is taking on Blue Panther. Yes, Lastbrook. Yeah. Lee Moriarty is defending against Blue Panther, and that fucking rules. In a pure rules match for the Pure Championship, Athena is taking on Thunder Rosa. Bandito is taking on Takeshita. And Dustin and Sammy are taking on Sean Dean and Charlie Bravo. And that'll be a fucking cool match. I would love to see the Infantry win a belt. I think that would be cool as hell. But Dustin and Sammy call themselves the Sons of Texas. I think some Texas boys, and maybe a girl, are going to win. I definitely think Athena is going to win, and Rosa is not going to win. I would love it if Thunder Rosa beat Athena, and then Athena showed up in AEW proper and came back to AEW and wasn't banished to Ring of Honor fucking still. Put Athena on TV consistently, just put her back on Ring of... She started in AEW and then went to Ring of Honor and then fucking stayed in Ring of Honor, and just fucking bring her back. Athena's too fucking good for that corpse of a secondary promotion. Or get a fucking TV deal for it. One or the other. But she's too good for that. Tony Khan, pay for his crimes. Someday Tony Khan will pay for his crimes. All right, I'm going to finish the back here after a pause for the cause. I'm going to take a couple moments here, folks, to talk to you about ways that you can support the channel and what I do here. Everything I'll talk to you about is optional. You are under no obligation to do any of these things. If you would like to support me financially or otherwise, emotionally support me, you're more than welcome to, but these are optional things. These are just things you could do if you wanted to, and I would love it if you did. First and foremost, if you are currently a subscriber to the Build with Bear workshop, you can throw the Bear Cave, the Lego, the Scythe or the tier 2 blue emote in chat. Being a subscriber is the easiest way to support what I do here. You can do it through Cash Money like Harold did. 92 months, still fucking wild. Or you could support me with your Prime Gaming token. If you have Amazon Prime, you link that with your Twitch, you get a token. You can use that token for anybody. And if you wanted to use it for me, that would be cool. I'd find that very cool if you wanted to. Again, optional. You don't have to do any of these things, but if you want to, that'd be great. Another way to support me is through Patreon at patreon.com/PatBear. Over on my Patreon, there's a $1, $3, $5, and $10 tier. There are different rewards for different tiers. Consider joining me on Patreon. My $3, $5, and $10 patrons, I would love it if my $3, $5, and $10 patrons would go to my Patreon page and vote on what I do on Tuesday. I have a poll up for Tuesday. There are 3 options right now. There is a leader in what I do. It's 2 games and one thing, one like watch along thing. So if you would like to see something like that, just help me decide that. If you're a $3, $5, or $10 patron, make sure you go over there and vote. I'll try to remind people to do that because there's plenty of people who haven't voted yet, and I'd like them to. So that's one way to support me. I have a YouTube channel at youtube.com/PatBear. Over on my YouTube channel, man, I'm just dropping frames. I'm not dropping frames. I'm dropping kilobytes left and right. But we haven't gotten disconnected, so I can only be so annoyed by it. But I'm sorry if things get fuzzy. My apologies if things get fuzzy on stream. Over on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/PatBear. You can subscribe for free, of course, and please do. You can also become a member, and for just $2 a month, you could get my Wednesday videos on Tuesday. So my next video that comes out on Wednesday, you get to see it on Tuesday, and you don't have to wait. That's a nice little thing. Those are monthly ways to support me. If you would just like to support me on a one-off occasion, you can throw something into my Ko-Fi or my PayPal. Really rough here. My apologies, everybody. Through my Ko-Fi or my PayPal. Everything I make through direct donations through YouTube, which includes AdSense. So watching my videos also, through Patreon, through Twitch, all goes into a fund, and out of that fund, I pull money out to buy model kits and Lego sets. This kit I was able to purchase. So your past you is helping present me build this cool kit. I was supposed to go to this screen for that. I'm sorry. I was supposed to go to this screen and I didn't. I never went to that screen. But that's a way to help me out financially. Hey, I have a wish list on Amazon. If you want to buy something for me to build on stream, you can go to my Amazon wish list and purchase something there. It will come to me in the mail, of course. And then it will jump the queue and become the next thing that I built because I got a backlog, but I'll work on what you purchased before that. And also make a dedicated video for my YouTube channel about the thing you purchased, a mailbag video. I got model kits. I got Lego sets. I got inexpensive kits. I got expensive kits. I got kits that go on sale all the time. I got kits that are never on sale at always the same price pretty consistently. But go take a look at that, see if there's something there. I got one jigsaw puzzle. If you want me to build a third jigsaw puzzle in 2025, I could do that. I recently added the G-Quarks to the list, so that's in there. That's pretty new for the list here. A Lego Technic bush plane. That is a cool looking little plane. The Lego Technics are fun. I got that on the wish list. That's fairly new. I recently added a couple things. Let me see if I can remember anything else that I recently added to the list. And again, you see something there you'd like to see me put together, you can pick it up. I recently added, it is Goku and Vegeta model kit, action figure model kits, and they're chibi form because this is from Daima. So that's new and cool. But yeah. I recently added a Charizard model kit. This is Mega Charizard X. So it's the blue and black Charizard that looks fucking dope as hell. I just added that to the wish list today. So if you want me to put that together, you could buy it off my wish list, and then I jump the queue and be the next thing I work on, and that'll be fun. It'll be fun to work on that. And there's some gear at the bottom because sometimes people want to support, but they don't know about kits. I don't have any Lego in my backlog. There's some Lego in there. If you'd like to see me work on a Lego set in the near future, you can do that. Eventually, I will purchase some Lego to be in my backlog. But right now, I don't have any. Literally zero. Goose egg. A goose egg amount. What else? What else can I tell you about? I don't know. Oh, yeah, my brain had a brain fart there. My alternative to Amazon, because it's nice to have a wish list alternative, I have a Throne wish list, so you can go on Throne, maybe pick up something there for me to build. And then, if you want to support me financially, but it needs to be incredibly convoluted, you needs to take a lot of steps and be really wild and weird, go to USA Gundam Store. At USA Gundam Store, you can buy a gift card. Then you can use, they'll send you a gift card code in the email. Then you can send me a whisper on Twitch or a DM on Twitter or Mastodon on Blue Sky with that gift card code. And then I will use that gift card code to buy something from USA Gundam Store. That's simple as that. I'm going to check something so we can talk about this in a second. But yeah, if you want to support me that way, you can. That is a way to do that. If you want to support me, but you don't have the money for it, you can just join my Discord. We'd love to have you in there. You can find out about upcoming streams and hang out with people. The Discord is cool as hell, and we'd love to have you there. So consider jumping in the Discord. Couple video links for you to check out. I will have a new episode of Pat Baer's Anime Club up to on Monday. But the most recent episode was me talking about the spring 2025 season and the now happening summer 2025 season. So you can watch that video there of Pat Baer's Anime Club. And then the most recent episode of Kuma Baer, I'm talking about the shows from the spring season that I thought were fantastic. And I started with Rock is a Lady's Modesty, which is getting a dub starting in August on High Dive. But you can watch me talking about the subtitled version and how fucking fantastic it is. And you can watch that video at your leisure. It's a minute long. You'll hear me talk about how good it is for just a minute, which it truly, truly is. Oh, there's one more addition. We'll talk about that in a bit here. One more announcement from Crunchyroll for the next season, or for next year, I guess I should say. So I have some manga to talk about, and then I have some anime to talk about. We'll start with the manga, and then we'll get into the anime. Before we do that, I need to drink a beverage, and I need to dramatically transition back to the overhead camera, and I need to wait for the KBPS to come back because it's been fucking struggling. And to do all that, I am going to dramatically transition the overhead camera, drink some water, and we'll start right now. All right. Quick update from Crunchyroll. They have a new romantic comedy coming out in January 2026. So the winter 2026 season will have You and I Are Polar Opposites coming to Crunchyroll. And it looks like it is I wouldn't call her a gal, but some sort of like a girl with kind of a boisterous girl with pink hair and a nerdy guy. And there's a cat in the image. And that's all I know about You and I Are Polar Opposites. But it's an opposites attracts school romance. And that's fun. That's coming in January. So yeah. Some more anime coming to you. Get into it if you want to. You don't have to get into it, but if you want to get into it, you can get into it. I have some manga to talk about first, and then I'll talk about the anime that I watched since the last stream. 2 manga series. It's Manga Saturday. Talking about both of these have very long names. Only one of these is an isekai. The other one is a banished series. But we'll start with the Banished, and then we'll do the Isekai. The Banished is called Full Auto Buff Makes My Companions the Strongest in the World, Unconsciously Unrivaled, Just by Being There. So, this is a dude who was in the hero's party. They had a saint, they had a thief, they had a mage, they had a hero. Literally his skill, he unlocked the hero, the legendary hero. The people were so fucking psyched about this shit. Holy shit, a hero is coming. And our main character, who was just a guy, who, as far as the party knew, was just a dude. Didn't have any special abilities. He was good with logistics. He could fight, but not as good as anyone else. But he was there to back people up and be support. And the main guy was sick of that shit. He was sick of having to like sneak around to be evil and shitty because that guy sucks. The hero in this story sucks. And so he kicked our guy out. He's like, we're going to fight the Demon Lord. I don't need you around. And so our dude, Slad, is just like, okay. Because our guy is incredibly strong and powerful. As I said, he's got buff abilities, auto buff. If you are in a party with him, if he deems you to be part of his crew, you just become stronger and more resilient and faster. And damn it, you take far less damage. And it's just... shit works when you're with him. And then on the flip side, both it works for him and it works for people in the party with him. If you are in a party with, if you're going against him, if his ability decides that you are an enemy, you are fucked. You get all kinds of status conditions and your defense goes down, and it's just, you get rocked. So our dude is like, all right, well, good luck. And you might be saying, Pat, wouldn't the hero have kept him around if his ability had been known, if he knew? No, because our dude was such a megalomaniac and also prideful. If he had found out that our guy, that the only reason he was like doing so well is because a guy that he didn't think meant shit was propping him up and helping him out, then like, what's the fucking point, right? Like, there would be no point. So he just goes and does whatever because he's already strong enough and he's got debuffs and all that other stuff. Ooh, we got a big old raid from Not That Will Smith. Welcome, Raiders. Hello. Hello, Raiders. I'm Pat Baer. I build model kits and Lego sets. We are currently working on the Gundam Methuss, which is a mobile suit. It's not a Gundam, I should say. It's a mobile suit, Methuss. It is a mobile suit from the year 2006, if you can believe it. That's how old this kit is. Now, does that mean... Oh, Lashbrook just subbed with Prime. Say a 91-month streak saying F91, that kid isn't from this show at all. You're right, Lashbrook. So we can put some applause in here. Thank you very much, Lashbrook, for renewing your sub. And welcome, Raiders, of course. Folks that came in from Will. I hope you're doing well. We do raid Will on occasion when Will's doing some not that late night, but probably late for him streams, but for us, not that late at night. But yeah, I hope you all had a good time there. Running some games. Shout out to Will. We'll do the old SO here. Do the shout outs. I don't do this that often, so we'll do that there. Not That Will Smith. Great. So a little shout out to Will. Go check in on Will if you haven't already. Thanks for shouting. No problem. Thank you for the raid and welcome, Raiders. So I should explain. This kit is from the year 2006. Is this plastic 19 years old? No, it is not. I can definitely tell you this is not 19-year-old plastic. How do I know that? Well, this box has a Bandai badge on it that is blue. And that generally signifies that that is a reissue. If it was red, that would be an original. But because the box itself has this little blue badge here that says Bandai on it, that tells me that at some point they did a reissue of this. That doesn't mean that this design got updated at all. It did not. It is just that they printed new plastic, molded new plastic, I should say, to make this kit. The design is still from 2006. It's just that the plastic is probably from the 2010s, I'm going to guess. I don't know the exact time or exact year. I wish I did. I wish I could tell you exactly when this came out because it's nice to know. But like I said, what I can tell you is it's still a fucking very old design. This kit does transform. It does have like a flight mode, which is why it's got a bunch of nonsense going on here. It looks very weird, which is why its shoulders look like those are like rockets. Very strange. Let's see. I gotta get this connected here. Well, that doesn't want to connect like I want it to. I wonder if there's a good way to get this. There we go. That worked. I had to find the right pressure to connect these pieces of plastic because this does need to move around, as you can see. This backpack, because it does have rockets, so it is technically the backpack, but it's also the cockpit of the flight mode. Very silly kit. But we're now done with the top half of the kit, and we can move on. When folks came in, I was recommending some manga. I am going to keep one of those recommendations for a future stream. I will just, I kept that one there. And I will keep my anime recommendations until Monday. We'll save that for Monday. All I will say is that it's a new season of anime, folks. We got a new season of anime out. So I am starting to watch The Water Magician, which is a show that I really love the manga. I really enjoy the manga. It is an isekai. If you are unfamiliar with that term, it just means different world. Isekai just means different world in Japanese. It has come to represent a show where the main character finds themselves in a world foreign to the one they started in. That often means that it's a fantasy world where magic and monsters and all of that. Occasionally, it is a sci-fi future world. Often, our characters sometimes just end up there or they are reincarnated. That is another classic way to do it, where a character has lived a bunch of years and suddenly remembers they had a life before that, and they were flooded with the memories. Is it a Narnia or a Connecticut Yankee? Yeah, great question. Yes. Or Wizard of Oz is an isekai. Alice in Wonderland is an isekai. Those are also isekai because the original isekais are inspired by those types of fiction. The early isekai, which was generally novels, The Matrix. You could definitely make a strong argument that The Matrix is an isekai because it is a different world. It's just a virtual world that people don't know they're in, and that's a wrinkle in it that, to me, I think you could certainly argue that is an isekai. Like I could also hear an argument that's not an isekai, Pat. What are you talking about? That's just a VR thing. It's like equivalent of a VR anime. But yeah, isekai are a different world. I like the genre, the subgenre, I should say. I enjoy it. There are 3 eras of anime isekai that are out there. Well, 3 or 4. My apologies, folks that came in on the raid. You may see that I suddenly dropped from 1080p until like 480p. I am having some issues here where my kbps is dropping. That is, instead of me dropping frames, my connection is starting to be a little wonky. We had some bad storms in the area. I am kind of blaming it on that. because my internet was pretty fine today, and suddenly tonight is starting to get a little wonky. So I am using the I forget what it's called, but it is a setting in OBS. I am using a network setting in OBS called dynamically change bitrate to manage congestion. So instead of dropping frames or getting disconnected, it gets a little bad around here. This looks a little worse than it was. But on the bright side, we don't get disconnected, which it seems like my internet really wants to do. So we'll see. We'll see how all that goes. Anything else that I wanted to say about that? Oh yeah. So I've been kind of watching isekais for a long time. The original isekai stuff that you saw out there generally had, because they were inspired, as I said, by like Alice in Wonderland and Wizard of Oz. You had female-led shows like Fushigi Yugi, Escaflowne, Magic Knight Rayearth, those types of Inuyasha. Those types of shows had female leads, and those were the isekais, though, often romance elements to it. And then the popularity of Sword Art Online issued in a new wave of isekai. Even though Sword Art Online, I would say, is not an isekai, it basically did a lot of the genre stuff to it. That and Jobless Reincarnation, which was a very popular web novel, which became a light novel, incredibly popular. Even if it's just an anime now, it kind of modernized a lot of the tropes for isekai. And became a thing that just ended up being very popular over the years. So let's see. Okay. We're making feet here. We're making some feet for this robot. This robot needs feet. The 3 and 4 are going to be over here, and then 1 and 2 go over here. Got it. So that was the original traditional isekai. Then the modern isekai became stuff like Overlord and Rising the Shield Hero, all that kind of stuff. The overpowered main character, maybe they've been betrayed, maybe they haven't. They have a plethora of ladies around them. Those ladies generally like the main character. It often does not lead to any kind of romance. It's just weird. Those are those. And then there is the postmodern isekai. We had even the revolve around, hey, we're gonna bring back ladies as main characters for isekai. We're gonna do video game stuff, waking up in a video game world. We'll do all those things. Eventually, people were like, hey, what if we got weird with it? Could we get weird with isekai? And then you start seeing stuff like Reborn as a Vending Machine, which the second season just started this week. Or That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. Or Reincarnated as a Sword. Or various other nonsense things. There's the one where it's an onsen. So I'm a Spider, So What? The kind of weird isekai. They take it to the extreme kind of thing. Of the idea that Reborn as a Vending Machine, I Now Wonder the Dungeon is really weird and great. You gotta try that again. I mean, like I said, the second season just started. It's picking up right where it left off. I really love it because it is just such a weird premise. Boxo is such a great expressive character despite being a vending machine. I described the first season. I've always described the first season as really fun and really silly, except for one episode that is unbelievably sad. There is just out of nowhere, episode 8 or 9 of that show is just completely and utterly devastatingly sad. And I don't know why. I don't know why they did it, but they did do it. They were just oh, actually, there's one episode of the show. Sorry. It's going to be rough. Deal with it. It's just I don't know. I don't know why they did it, but they did do it. All right, then I gotta do B31 and B30. Build some feet here. It's gonna be over here. We'll put together this grunt. This might be the first high grade, which is the class of this kind of build, model kit build. This might be the first one that transforms. I don't think it was the first mobile suit in the shows to transform, but I think it's the first model kit of a transformation. Don't quote me on that one. I might be wrong on that, but I believe that to be the case. It's certainly one of the first. Anyway, I watch a lot of isekai, and The Water Magician is a fun one. It's a slow-paced thing about a guy who just wants to learn magic and gets to in a very isolated place, but he also has some special stuff that even the god that summoned him was unprepared for. He is an overpowered main character, but he is an interesting one. A lot of self-reflection in that show as far as the character goes. It's a thinking man's isekai. But that is a fun one. I'm not going to be watching a lot of them this season. There are 8 isekai, and I'll be watching a few of them. I actually should say, on Monday, I have a video coming out where I'm going to be talking about them more in depth. Go through the all 8 isekai out this season. If you're like, Pat, that's a lot of fucking isekai. You're right, it is. But also, the winter season is always the most. There's always more in the winter season. Like, I think like 2023 winter season was like 12 isekai. It was too much. We are getting the campfire cooking with my absurd skills. That is coming back, and I'm very excited about that. That's a phenomenal isekai that I'm happy is getting a second season. I believe that is the fall. I want to say maybe it's winter. Maybe it's next year. But yeah. There's a trailer for the Fist of the North Star reboot. They are bringing back Fist of the North Star. It looks terrible. It is that kind of like CGI animation that is trying to go for looking like it's cel shaded, but it just looks like they're skipping frames of animation. I am not interested in that as far visually anyway. It very much looks like it might be 10 years ago. They did a sequel, a season 2 of the prequel series to that show, which came out, as I said, years and years ago. And that looked really bad. So kind of, I guess that's like bad Into the Spider-Verse. So there's this thing where, like, if you go full-blown 3D CGI and you put money into it and time and energy into it, I don't think it's bad. Like, I'm not the person that's here that's saying that CGI is bad. But I am saying that when your backgrounds are digital animation and your main characters are CGI and it looks like they don't fit in the world, like almost like some things are just being done by third-party studios, it's jarring, and I'm not willing to get used to that. And I know some people are. They're just like, whatever, that looked cool, sure. It just, yeah, to me it looked cheap. And I don't think that if you're going to reboot Fist of the North Star, that you should be cheap about it. I mean, maybe you shouldn't be doing that art style, but like, it looked like, I mean, this is hard to say. There's so many bad Berserk seasons, but it looked like the really bad CGI Berserk. And maybe it looked better than that, but it was closer to that than digital. And that is bad. That's what we call a bad thing. Pretty bad, if that's what the case it's going to look like. Because oofta. That's one of the worst looking shows I've ever seen. The most recent Berserk anime was digital, but it was based on there was a movie, and then they took the movie and broke it up in episodes and did some new animation to stretch it out to be like a season, and that actually looked pretty good. I think that looked pretty rad. But yeah, some of that stuff I'm just like, nah, I'm okay. I mean, also, like, yes, do I compare every Berserk to the 1990s series? Of course I do. Of course I compare it. Like, yeah, everyone is going to compare that. Like, it's gorgeous looking. It's, dirty as hell as far as the animation, because it's, it's cell shade or cells, but not cell shaded. It's actually cells, but it's gorgeous. And so, yeah, anytime they put out a new Berserk, I'm always comparing it. And I'll compare this new Fist of the North Star to the original, which again is, cell shaded and reused a lot of animation. Certainly, a lot of that animation got reused, and some of those backgrounds were just blah, desert because it was post-apocalypse, but still, I don't mind that. It still had character. It had charm. This new one, the trailer anyway. I can only compare it. I should also say, for folks that are new, don't know me, that don't know what I'm about, I am not an old man about a purely old man about anime. Like, I'm not one of those people that is just like, they shouldn't continue stories or remake things because they're always bad. Like, I'm not like that. The Ranma 1/2, which we're getting more of soon, the Ranma 1/2 reboot is phenomenal. It looks clean, looks real good. A bunch of the filler stuff was taken out of it, so it's more streamlined. It's still funny. They modernized a few things here and there. The big change they made that is incredible is that, like, I mean, we'll see more of her. She wasn't in much of season 1, but immediately Shampoo, the Chinese character, isn't an unbelievably, like, horrible racial stereotype right off the bat. And I was like, yeah, all right, good. But it's still really funny and fun. It is still a good romantic comedy series that has action in it. I thought that reboot was fantastic. Trying to think of other, like, the new extension of Bleach, the new seasons of Bleach has been fantastic. They're doing, clearly there is CGI used in it. CGI animation, 3D animation is used in part with the digital animation, but I think it blends really well. Like, yeah, if you're gonna do Bankai, if you're gonna do these big, unreal, like, amazing things, do it in CGI. Like, do it differently. I think it fits with that. I think the fight scenes are still really great. The music's really solid. That has been fantastic. Also, they had a long time to figure out how to make that last arc better, because one of the things about it, the 1,000-Year Blood War, the manga version, is that it's kind of a fucking mess. And I'm glad they've had a lot of time to figure out how to make that work in a modern context. So I'm like, okay, they're doing their best here, and I applaud them for figuring it out. All right, looks like we're doing all of one leg, and then we'll do all of the other leg. So we will get started with that. We'll consider it now. Now it's leg day over here, even though it's clearly the evening. So I did want to just really make that clear that I am not saying that I don't like any modern stuff, versions of the old stuff. I do think you don't have to at all remake old shows. Like, I don't think like, they brought back Orphan, Sorceress Stabber Orphan, and I'm like, why? What? Who needs that? Like, I think the fact that they did Yashahime, which is the sequel series to Inuyasha, I thought, well, that's not the best, it's not my favorite, but I thought that was a way better call than like remaking Inuyasha. Like, you know, there's no reason to do that stuff. Like, you know, to me, it's like sometimes it's like I don't know. Now, shows that never got a full fair shake, like in 2011 when they brought back Hunter x Hunter and redid Hunter x Hunter. I thought that was a fine thing because the 99 series just kind of abruptly ended, and they did OVAs because they were releasing it while the manga was still coming out. So, like, I thought that was a fine idea to bring that back. Like I said, this new version of Ranma, I think is good. There have been a few that have come out that I've thought have been pretty solid remakes, but not everything needs to get remade. And they'll never remake Flame of Recca, which is my one wish, because that show got done dirty. That show, they just like made up a fucking ending. They were just like, oh yeah, we're done. We're just going to kill this character off that isn't dead in the show. We'll just do that. They knew they weren't going to come back to it. I don't know. I think it would be kind of cool to have that. I don't know if they would continue it. I think they would have to restart it, but who knows? Sometimes they do like they continue where they left off on shows that existed a long time ago, like what they're doing with Bleach now. World Trigger like got new episodes last year out of nowhere. Unbelievable that was like, oh, okay, we're doing that, huh? All right. Oh, we're gonna bring that back. Sure. Great. Like, okay, yeah. I don't know. I was shocked when I read that World Trigger was coming back, because I felt like that show like did well enough, but it'd been a very long time to selling them back. Ghost in the Shell could use some more stories. So there is a new Ghost in the Shell adaptation coming out, and at the very least, the art style is more in line with the manga. We don't know much about it, but right now I can say that it looks like it is trying to be more in keeping with the original. Yes, there's a new Ghost in the Shell series coming. I saw a teaser a bit ago. Yeah, so we are getting new Ghost in the Shell, which is just, it looks like it was, hey, yes, it did pique my interest. And like I said, the fact that it looked like the manga art style made me go, oh, okay. Like that did raise my eyebrow. So like I said, it doesn't, you know, there are only a couple things that I find to be universal truths when it comes to adaptations. Is that, like, in my opinion, that there should be more original anime. It's hard, but there should be more original. I will have trouble adapting the SAC designs are the canon ones to me. Yeah, I understand that, Lashbrook, not Lord Crash. I understand that, Lashbrook. Yeah, like that's the standalone complex is your Ghost in the Shell, so it'll take some adjusting, and it might be very hard. I understand that. I get that. What was I saying? Yeah, like I said, there aren't many universal truths. One is that more original anime is better for the, in my opinion, having more originals is better for the industry as a whole. That the industry as a whole is stronger when there is a strong amount of original anime every season. That a mix of different genres, like not being like, it shouldn't be super like heavy on one of any kind of show, and there should be plenty of variety out there, because that's the spice of life. But yeah, it's true. And also that there will never be a good Junji Ito adaptation. There just never will be. It will never happen. This new Junji Ito adaptation that's coming out soon is just another season of one of the previous bad adaptations of his work. I just think that his medium is manga. I just think that it's the proper medium for the art, for the stories. I think that people should stop trying to make anime of his stuff, or have the biggest budget in anime ever. Hey, Lord Crashton, and welcome. Happy to have you here. Glad you come in towards the end of the stream. We got a few minutes left on the stream. I might wrap up a little early because I have been having some connection issues here, so we might wrap it up in a little bit, but we're here for a couple more minutes. Don't worry, everybody. But yeah, I just think that there are some things that should never have an anime, and I think a lot of his works should just not. They should stop trying. I just think that they don't lessen the originals, but they will make it so some people will never seek them out because they'll just have bad experiences with the manga, and then they will never find out about one of the greatest manga of all time because they had a bad time with one of the anime adaptations of his work, which certainly can happen. It's a shame. It's a real shame if that continues to be the case, but it really feels like that's the goddamn case. God, Uzumaki was bad. It's one of the worst anime I've ever. It's one of the worst anime adaptations, and it's definitely one of the worst things I've ever seen as far as anime goes. It's hard to think of I can only think of, in a modern context, one anime that is worse than that Uzumaki adaptation. And that's X-Arm, which is just, there's nothing good about X-Arm. It's just unbelievably bad. It's done by a studio that had never worked on anime before. They had just done like cutscenes for video games. The director came from working as a stunt choreographer, stunt director, and music video stuff. The music person had never worked on an anime before. It was a decently successful manga, but they didn't. The voice cast was bad. The animation was just unbelievably terrible. It was just one of the worst things I've ever seen. I literally can't, Crunchyroll helped produce it. It was one of the Crunchyroll originals where they were like helping to fund some anime, and I can't believe they actually put it out. It's just so terrible. I was hate watching it for a while, and then eventually I was like, this just makes me sad. It eventually made me just sad to watch it. It's one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life, and certainly the worst anime I've ever watched. It's called X-Arm, EX-Arm. If watch some clips on YouTube, people have eviscerated it. I did, certainly. It's one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. It is woofta. Just top to bottom, a real shit show. Just fucking garbage. Bad production, bad vibes all around. Sucks for the people that like the source material. They'll never get a good adaptation of the thing they liked. But yeah, sometimes it just doesn't work out. I always think about how certainly the worst anime in the world we never get to see because it gets canceled. Like it's in pre-production, never got announced, and people were like, actually, no. Occasionally there are shows that just stop in the middle of it and we don't see the end of it. Generally, they do eventually put out the last episodes, but like X-Arm is just so bad, and it finished getting made. Hate watching anime, seems like a waste of time with so much worthwhile stuff out there. Yes, I mean, eventually they'll crash into. I just had to see it for myself. I just had to see how I was like, could it get worse? Could it turn the corner? It never turned the corner. It did get worse. It was kind of incredible. Like I said, I eventually I just had to know. I am going to wrap up the stream right now. I am going to go and go watch some wrestling. We are going to raid, though. That is how we end every stream around here. We're going to go find someone doing cool stuff and go spend some time with them. I would encourage you to come along on that raid, especially the folks that came in. Thank you very much, everybody that came in from the always wonderful Will Smith. I appreciate that very much. And stuck around. I always appreciate it when people stick around to see what's going on. Certainly a very different energy from what Will was doing. Certainly. But yeah, we're going to go hang out with some other people, go see what they're up to. We always end with a raid, and we'll go see what's going on there. Probably someone playing video games. Generally, I raid people who play video games. Let's see. What are people up to and into on a Saturday evening? Let's see. How long has this person been streaming? Let's see here. Okay. We are going to raid Arthur Geese. Arthur Geese is playing Death Stranding 2, which I forgot was called On the Beach. We're going to go raid Arthur. Please come along on this raid. It would be great as we go hang out with Arthur and see what's happening in the wonderful world of that. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope you come along on this raid as we see Arthur play just a weird game, just a weird video game. Maybe he gets to meet, maybe he'll meet Pekora. I don't know. I don't know where he is in the game. I don't know if he's delivering pizzas to Pekora yet or not. But I hope you come along on this raid. It'll be fun. Thanks so much for being here. I'll be back Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern, to continue working on this model kit and to do other, to talk about a bunch of things, manga and anime and video games and all kinds of things. I'll see you soon. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.